different elements that make up, a PR strategy, particularly today in the context of COVID. We should be going live in just 2 minutes. So once again, thank you very, very much for joining, and thank you for your patience. I am very, very thrilled today because we have a spectacular guest. He's an expert in PR and marketing. He's an Egyptian entrepreneur. He's part of Mayday, which is an incredible, incredible startup in Egypt. Amr, thank you so, so much for joining us.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
So let's start, I think, by clarifying some concepts, because many people confuse PR with marketing, right? So how are they different? Let's start by sort of differentiating key concepts.
All right. First, PR is technically the art of establishing and maintaining a company's reputation with the public. It's like the function that conducts deliberate, planned, and sustained effort to establish a mutual understanding between an organization and its audience. Technically, PR is a long-term investment, while you can say marketing is ROI driven. In other terms, marketing generates, it covers promotional, direct marketing, and advertising, which seeks to return direct. Whereas PR is focused on reputation management through generating positive media coverage and stakeholder communication. That's in the terms of activities and tactics. When it comes to target audience, marketing aims to reach current and potential customers, whereas public relations
I think we lost your voice.
Okay.
Sorry. I think we lost your voice. Is the mic connected?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yes.
Let's say, okay. When it comes to activities and tactics, marketing is on about generally covering promotional, direct marketing, and advertising, which seeks to return direct sales. Whereas PR is focused on reputation management through generating positive media coverage and stakeholders communication. In terms of target audience, marketing aims to reach current and potential customers, whereas PR is all about maintaining positive relationship with anyone who has an interest in the organization or brand. Which gets us to two different goals. The goal of the marketing team is mainly to reach consumers and make them think, believe, or do some kind of sales-focused action. Essentially, it's about selling the product or service, whereas PR is about selling the company or brand through kindly, positively managing the communication channels between the company and its stakeholders. Overall, maintaining activities are trying to achieve direct revenue, for example, while PR is trying to drive positive reputation through an effective PR strategy.
Right.
This is technically the difference between both.
Right. Reputation, what a key concept, and what a significant aspect of a business, right? Because reputation can sometimes easily go out of your hands. What would you say are some key strategies for startups, for entrepreneurs to kind of build that PR strategy and to build visibility and reputation?
Okay, let's see. For starters, a startup begins with a clean slate. It's kind of a zero brand awareness. No one knows about you. No one knows about your service or your product or whatever you're doing. So the PR has objectives, especially like educating the public about the new product, the service, or the idea. Maybe you're raising funds to grow the business. Maybe generating trials of the product or service, acquiring new customers. All these are objectives for a PR campaign. Each of these objectives have a different approach or a different story shared. For example, if you are fundraising, you will be approaching journalists who are working in portals that are read by venture capitalists or angel investors. But for example, if you are a startup who's trying to create a buzz or create a mass brand awareness about your product, the type of journalist will be totally different. You will be going for bloggers, lifestyle journalists, maybe influencers. The approach is totally
Right. One of our listeners, Amr, is asking if you can raise your voice a little bit because we can hear you very low.
okay. Can you hear me now? Better, everyone?
Yes, yes. I don't know the sound. There's something.
The issue was me trying to use the Bluetooth earbuds.
Right. Oh,
It
right.
didn't work, so that was the delay. So I'm using the laptop
Right.
for that.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so you were saying contacting and figuring out and finding out basically what kind of blogs or media outlets are out there, right? And sort of kind of targeting them.
Which is uh, fitting to your objective. What do you need from a PR campaign? Do you need to fundraise? Do you need to draw the attention of angel investors and venture capitalists? Or you just want ROI and want people to know about you and people to buy your product? Each approach and each objective has a different type of approach.
Right.
And a different type of journalists you're going to approach, a different type of media outlets you're going to approach.
Right. Ahmed is also saying, raise your voice a little bit.
Come on, come on. What am I supposed to do now? All right. Can you? Either I go closer, or I'll raise my voice. I'll raise my voice. All right. All right.
Mona is asking, what is the start of PR for startups? Which has, I think, a lot to do with what you were saying, right? These 3 strategies that we want to identify.
Personal point of view and from experience in my own startup, try enrolling in startup competitions. That's the easiest, most low cost or zero cost PR strategy. Like we started with Rise Up. Our first competition was Rise Up. It created a lot of traction in media outlets. We just went to the competition, took the second place, and from there, traction started coming up. The next year, they gave us a free booth in the Hypo area called the High Potential Startups. So that dragged a lot of media without just approaching them. They approached us. So I think that's the easiest and most low-cost strategy for startups. Maybe go for product roadshows.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to companies, targeted companies that are in the same sector, show them your product, let them try it. Those employees or management team are actually people who are going to use your product. So that strategy is low cost and it's efficient. Maybe reach out to social media influencers. That's an easy way to give them a product, a tester of your product. They can try it and write a review on it. That's a good way. Like be live on social media. Just be present. That's mainly what startups, from my point of view, should do in the start. Since in the beginning you're low on cash and you need to do publicity.
Right. Now, I'm going to ask you a question from the side of a journalist, right? I used to receive and still now receive, now with Startups Without Borders, we receive a lot of pitches from people that want to publish articles on our website, right? But I can clearly see, as any journalist can clearly see, when this is a message that you write down and you copy paste it and send it to several media platforms. It's very impersonal. It shows that you don't know, you have no idea what website you're talking about. Sometimes I get messages saying, I see that you're writing about blockchain. I mean, one of the topics we do is blockchain, but we are not specialized in blockchain, right? So how can you really approach media, but in an effective way? Because naturally, we don't respond to these messages.
Do exactly what those people didn't do. Study your journalist. Study the person you're going to address. Study them, do your research, know what they're doing, know what they're writing about, and from there, you can draw their interest. because, as you said, you get bombarded by emails and pitches, and if they don't click, you're gonna put them in the junk, and they're done. No one is going to listen to them or give them attention. But when you study your journalists, when you study them, know what they're writing about, what their interests are, you'll get the click. They'll get interested. They'll start getting interested, and they'll try to approach you, and they'll know that you're professional and know the people.
Right, right. What are key aspects that you can highlight about your startup when approaching a journalist?
All right. For our point of view, for Mayday, for example, we're working in automotive services. Started off in roadside assistance, then it's expanded to other services such as car wash, insurance, car insurance services, etc. So when I'm approaching a journalist, I would go for a journalist in the automotive industry, for example. That's if I'm trying to reach, let's see, I said in the beginning that depending on your objective, you're going to approach a journalist. I'm trying to reach users, I'm going to go for an automotive journalist. Automotive, insurance, journalism, all those will be effective to me. If I'm trying to reach, if I'm fundraising, for example, going for a series, I'll go for journalists in the startup industry, in the startup ecosystem. Example, like let's say any journal read by venture capitalists or angel investors would do. So those are the ones that I'm going to be approaching if I'm fundraising, for example. So no, and another way, in other words, know your user, do a persona, user persona, know the journey, know what they read, study them well. That will help you more in knowing what kind of outlets, what kind of media portals they read, so you can approach and choose your perfect fit journal.
Right. Ahmed Abdelaziz is asking, what about Facebook campaigns? Reach and brand awareness, to be precise. Have you tried any of these? Have you experienced any? What's your evaluation of such Facebook PR approaches?
Okay, look, the content you're writing is what's going to make it effective or not. It's not the tool. Facebook is a tool. The way you use the tool is how it's going to be effective. So if you have a good content, if you're good at storytelling your product, Facebook is going to be effective. But if you're not doing that right, if you're not good at storytelling, if you're not having good content, not catchy content, Facebook is not going to be any effective for you. So, and it's not low cost, to be honest. So I wouldn't start with Facebook. It's useful for brand awareness, but you have to pay for at least Facebook boosting should be done. Because if you don't do boosting, it's as if you're driving a car without a steering wheel. Boosting is like a steering wheel, directs you to the target audience you need. If you don't use that, sorry, it's not going to be effective.
Right, right. He's asking again, he's saying, what's the difference between marketing and PR in terms of targeting? We lost your voice at that point, sorry, he's saying. So again, what's the difference between marketing and PR when it comes to target?
Okay. In marketing aims to reach current and potential customers, whereas public relations is all about maintaining positive relationship with anyone who has an interest in the organization or brand. This covers a broader audience across customers and media to employees and shareholders. That's PR. Marketing is all about selling to the right people at the right time.
Right. Right. Very, very clear, very to the point. I want to hear some stories. By the way, to all of our audience, we have an audience on Facebook. We have an audience at the webinar. Send us your questions so Amr can respond to them. We still have some 20 more minutes. Amr, I wanted to ask you some success stories that you have seen during COVID that have, excelled at PR, whether in Egypt or the region.
Let's see. Let's talk about the region. I would go. My personal favorite would be Swivel. For example, they directed all their force, their transportation force in Kenya to transport everyone, all Egyptians to the airport to be transported back to Egypt. That was a good PR action, honestly. Would go for Udemy, Udemy, the educational platform.
Ahmed is asking again if you can raise a little bit the volume.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
First was Swivel, their initiative in helping Egyptians in Kenya, strangled in Kenya, to reach the airport to be transported back to Egypt. That was a good PR campaign. If it was called a PR campaign, not an initiative. And we'll go for Udemy, the educational platform. They at the beginning of staying at home, they rendered all their services for free, so people can. That's brilliant because you're staying home. What are you going to do except working? You can online courses. You can do online courses. So them doing that, making it for free, is engaging trial for the product. So post COVID, I think there will be a high revenue generation.
Right.
So that's an effective PR campaign.
Right. It's a way to get people talking about you, right? To be on top of
Talking
people's
about
minds.
your product, it's amazing idea. It's an amazing idea and bullseye target.
Yeah. I recently saw a very interesting article on Fastco magazine, and it was talking about dating apps and the return of romance. So basically, the topic of the article, was not the apps, but it was like, because people can't go out and go on dates, people are talking more. So it kind of saying like,
Dating apps are going out together. So what are you going to do with a dating app?
well, they're doing dates online, like but the way what I found interesting was the way the story was portrayed by the platform, by the media platform, right? It was completely
Storytelling
cultural.
is key. Storytelling,
Exactly.
content
Exactly.
is key.
Exactly. Exactly.
Whatever platform you're using. Okay, go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have two more questions. Ahmed Mohsen is asking, how can I craft a story that attracts journalists and writers? Ahmed Youssef is asking again the difference between PR and marketing. Okay, this keeps being a recurring.
Repeating is good. Okay, let's start with the new question: how to craft a story for the journalist. Okay, you have to master the three P's. That's Let's go for the three P's. They are product, purpose, and passion. The product
Product, purpose,
and
and
passion.
passion. And passion. Amazing.
Uh, Product is defining exactly what your product or service is and what it does, where its niche offering currently fits into the existing industry. In order to truly define your product, you need to know how it's different. So your competitive analysis at a very early stage, if you haven't already. So from my point of view, you have to start before even starting a startup. You have to do a competitive analysis to know who's there, who's not, who's doing what. How are you going to be better than them? Okay, so that's the product. The purpose is identify your company's reason for being. What problem does your product or service solve?
Right.
And for whom you exist because of your target customers. So you need to have a detailed understanding of who they are and the persona and your customer segment. That's the second P. The third P is passion. I would say use an enthusiastic and authentic tone that captures the passion and vision and culture of your startup. You have to be close to the culture. In architecture, it's called zeitgeist. You have to be close to the culture that you're building for. In journalism and storytelling, you have to be close to the people you're talking to. So you cannot be far from the Egyptian culture when you're talking to the Egyptian people. But you'll feel alienated. No one will listen.
Yeah.
You want to be present. Your story, a company is human, and your company is like a human, a reliable human. So you should present it as a reliable human. You use real characters and events to shape your story. Honesty and vulnerability goes a long way in that. Some people think that they should feel tough, strong. Doesn't work that way. In this case, be vulnerable. It goes a long way with your
What a beautiful concept. What a beautiful idea. Being vulnerable gets you, you know, Gets you more visibility, reputation.
Passion gets you closer to people, so people gets to listen to you. They feel closer to you. Exactly.
Right. Right.
That,
I'm
answered the
Amy.
question.
Sorry.
The second one was, hope that answered Ahmed's the first one's question. What was
Yeah.
the second question? Another explanation of the difference between marketing and PR. Okay, let's put it in other words since I said it a lot of ways in the same way. Uh, let's say, let's call marketing as a relatively short-term activity. PR reaps the benefits over a longer period of time, while marketing seeks to drive instant, tangible sales success. Let's say the benefits of PR program can be viewed as a long-term investment that the company would recognize for future achievement, but marketing is tested by ROI, direct sales. I did a marketing campaign, I'm waiting for X number of sales. That's the difference
Mm,
between marketing and PR.
right.
Waiting for the
We have,
for the next question over the difference between marketing and PR again.
we're going to do a replay. We just rewind and replay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Henny is asking, at which stage should I approach journalists? Should I approach them at my lunch or should I wait until my startup matures a little bit?
Okay, I would say that that's a good question, really. I would say that
Yeah.
would be good depending on on your product. If you haven't launched yet, I don't think it would be a good idea to approach journalists since you have nothing to offer. They're going to write an article about you. People are going to go look for you. They wouldn't find you. So what's the point?
Right.
At least the earliest stage would be if you have an MVP. That would be good. At least people will see something, see a service or a product. The maturer you are, the better you are. At this point, to approach journalists because you're at your peak or at the high maturity level of your service or product. So I would say wait till you're mature enough, tested much, known your target audience, studied them, had at least some reviews on your product, and then approach journalists. Take your time.
Right.
Be don't rush it. I would say.
Right. Ahmed Abu Lanin, he's saying, from your point of view, how can you validate a PR plan for a clothes shop using an e-commerce platform?
How can I validate a PR campaign? Okay, is he asking about in these times about COVID or in general?
I think it's in general, but I mean, it's during COVID, it's very relevant as well.
During COVID, I would say work on e-commerce is booming during COVID, so you have it on a gold plate. So you should work on your delivery service. You should work on your product. Is it comfy? Is it helping people stay comfy at home? And work on your delivery. I would say the PR campaign would be sanitized delivery. Delivery is clean. We're clean in the shops. You don't need to fear contagion from our products. That would be good approach to the people since people are scared of buying from anywhere since
Yeah,
it's a reason that they might catch anything.
yeah, exactly. As you say, right? Connecting it to the context, which today is COVID, is key. Like we can't not talk about COVID today as a brand or as a right. Hassan is asking, where can we learn the basic requirements to launch a startup? Any books to recommend about startups?
Um, any books to recommend? I have to answer that later because it's a list. I have to
Sure.
choose.
Yeah.
But let's say join an incubator. That's the keyword. For me, it's one of the best experiences we've had. For Mayday, we joined two incubators. We joined Mint by EG Bank.
Mhm.
Afterwards, we joined Falak Startups. So they helped a lot in teaching us a lot about starting a startup, about pivoting, about managing the business, in addition to our experiences. But I would say joining an incubator early stage is a good experience to start your startup and managing it and learning. It increased our learning curve a lot. So instead of reading books, go to the experts who work in incubators. So that would be more functional.
Amy Nagati is asking, tips for increasing followers on Instagram for the business page. Is it mainly about paid ads?
Nope, it's about content. If you're paying ads on a bad content, it won't do anything. If you're not paying on a good content, it will do a lot. So content is key. Content is king. Let's say.
Right. Yeah.
Who said it first? Content is king. So work on your content, work on your storytelling, work on your service offering, and that will get you followers. People follow what they find relevant to them. They follow what they need. If your product is not relevant, if the product is not addressing any pain they're facing, why would they follow you?
Right.
So work on your content and that will do wonders. Then comes paid ads.
Yeah. It's part of adding value as well, right? Having content that,
Exactly. It's an added value. Ads are just like fuel. If you don't have the car, you're not going anywhere.
yeah. Omar Zain asks how to start a career in PR. We're going broader now. We want to start.
Okay. How to start a career in PR. So, to me, I was not approaching a career in PR, to be honest. It came. I'm an architecture graduate.
Right.
So I didn't work in architecture. Even had pre-masters, but I didn't work in architecture. But I worked in media production from start, branding. So PR came with it. When I worked in branding, I got PR jobs. So I started learning PR. I started loving PR. Started going deeper in it. So I would say if you want to start a career in it, just intern first, learn from the big people, and then you'll get your chance.
Right. Ahmed Yusuf is asking, how can PR increase sales?
Okay, PR is not the function of PR is not increasing sales, but it's a tool to increase sales. Like I said earlier, the difference between marketing and PR. If you're going to try to use PR to increase sales, it's a long-term investment. Marketing is what increases sales because you do a marketing campaign, you get an ROI on it, return on your investment. PR is just to maintain your reputation, maintain people's view of your product, to maintain loyalty and retention. That's what PR is for.
Right.
It won't increase your sales except if you're going into a partnership with a high esteemed company, for example, well established company. From the tools of PR is going into business partnerships. So that's PR that's going to increase your sales because it will increase your trust. For people trust you more. People will start to view your product as more credible since X company, which is reputable, is dealing with you. That's the only way PR can increase sales. Otherwise, don't use the tool for sales. Market.
Right. Ali is asking, do you recommend the marketing team to be responsible or an external agency to do PR?
A lot of people will hate me for this answer, but I would rather have an in-house team for a couple of reasons. Agencies are number driven. They don't care about how much money you're getting. They're just caring about, okay, I did a campaign, I got you 10,000 likes. Maybe those 10,000 likes didn't get you any revenue, but they don't care. I got you 10,000 likes. Give me my money. Your internal team is focused on your product and they care about your product because they are in the kitchen. So they're driven by the revenue. So my advice is get an internal team. Right. And actually, you're a startup. You won't be able to afford an agency in the beginning. So reduce your expenses. So get a team or hire a team for your marketing.
Ahmed Al-Hawari asks, how to create a PR campaign directed to B2B for a recruitment startup in COVID times.
Okay. Being tested now. Okay. B2B.
So it's a recruitment startup that wants to create a B2B campaign during COVID.
Look at the pains companies are having right now. Let's break it down. What are the pains that companies are having in recruitment right now amidst the COVID-19 issue? I guess it's not being able to go to their offices, not being able to personally interview people. So your product or your PR campaign should be focused on your product being able to connect these companies to talent without being able to leave their houses, and ensuring them to get the most reliable data, most reliable talents in these fields. So a PR campaign in this case be focusing on your product strength and enabling these companies to get the best talent without meeting them in person.
Right, right. Well, that's a very quick crafting of a campaign. But
That's
I
a
love how
draft.
you,
That's a quick draft. It can go
yeah.
deeper, but we'll go
Yeah,
all day if we went deeper into that issue. That's a campaign. You don't start a campaign like this. You have to study the competitors. You have to study everything. You have to study the B2B targets you're going for. What companies are you going to target? So that's a long, long planning issue.
yeah, yeah. But I love how you're thinking because it's really meeting your customers where they're at, right? Thinking like what is the pain they're going through right now and meeting them there.
That's what marketing is all about. You don't look the companies that stay rigid and don't look at what people need sink. You have to always pivot. You have to always like let's say for example Mayday, we're automotive industry. We're working in automotive services. People are not driving anymore.
Yeah,
So if I am not going to pivot, if I don't pivot my service, if I don't add services, then I'm going to close shop so soon. From that came that we added a service, car wash delivery service in houses. People cannot go out, but cars get dusty, so we deliver to them car wash. So that's an added service. So you have to pivot. You have to add services. You have to keep on going, looking at what people need, what people want, and pains keep changing. So you have to keep changing with it.
right, right. We have another question. You're very requested today. Ashraf is asking, what is the easiest way to push a press release about launching a new startup?
Okay, what's the easiest way to push? Okay, first look for the relative journalism portal you're going for. Depending on your industry, you're going to target a specific journalist. As we said, research this journalist, research who the person is, what does he do, what is he writing about them about, and for that, tailor your pitch according to him or her. Sorry, tailor your pitch according to the journalist you want to approach. That will get their attention fast. And as we said in the beginning, the three P's: purpose, passion, and product. With those in mind,
Yeah.
that's,
And products.
that's
Love that.
approach them. Hopefully, you don't need to pay because this approach you're having is the approach of someone's going to pay to get his press release.
Right, right. We have an anonymous question, very interesting. What was the best PR tool or initiative that you think is best for startups who just launched to help them generate some awareness?
All right, best tool. Let's go. I would go for roadshows.
Roadshows.
Roadshows and enrolling in competitions.
So how do you do a roadshow? What does a roadshow for people that may not be familiar with the concept? How do what is involved and how do you actually implement that?
Okay, I'm going to use my Mayday as an example.
Yeah.
Example, we for a roadshow we went to one of our current partners. Went for them, did a car wash in their premises to the employees. They loved the service. Started talking about it. 2 months later, they called us and we want the service for our users, for our partners. So it became revenue generating. That's what you do.
Right.
That's the roadshow. You give people a taste of your product. They start liking it. So those employees are actually users. So they're going to call you back. They like it.
Do you
That's on a
right?
roadshow.
Do you promote it widely or do you target it specifically through sort of more private communications where you contact, those relevant stakeholders, or do you just promote it out in the open? We're doing a roadshow with a timeline.
Both. Like general emails are being sent to general mass, but whoever has connections, we start calling people directly. I'm going to them. Okay, I have a X product. I want to try on your premises. What do you think? Okay, I'll. You start going for your connections. You start using your connections.
Right, interesting point. What are online tools that you think entrepreneurs can use today? I mean, we have so many different startups actually that we are utilizing for email marketing and for different. Are there really some actually useful tools for PR?
What's for my point of view is what's for free is not useful. So most of the free apps or platforms are for free. Right. They're not useful. They're not going to give you the function you need. But my personal favorite is a startup that was in Falak with us. It's called Trendster. I don't know if you heard about them or not.
Yeah.
They're a platform that's connecting influencers to brands. We're using them in the influencer marketing. They're really good. That's one of the tools I would use. MailChimp, of course, that's the all-time favorite of everyone for newsletters.
Yeah.
That would be it. That would be all I need to use. In addition to Pixel Code, Facebook Pixel Code, that's for analysis. And Facebook analysis, that's all I need to use here.
Right. Do you think, and this is my last questions, if the guests have any more questions, send them now. So do you think influencer marketing is going to fade out, or are we still sort of experiencing this kind of explosion and boom of influencers?
Okay. Let me get the question right again. Can you say it another way?
So do you think influencer marketing will stay in the near future beyond COVID? Do you think this will be the trend that will continue?
I think it's the only marketing tool that's going to stay after COVID. I think.
Oh, wow.
What do you, because it's cost efficient, it's reliable. Some people don't like I was one of the people who did not believe in influencer marketing, to be honest, and I got my mind changed.
Me too.
I thought it's useless. I can pay that for a billboard and get the same, but no.
Yeah. The idea is that, right, people today trust people more than brands, right? They need sort of the personal story, the personal.
Exactly, that's why I'm saying they're going to last, because people relate to people like them. But sometimes influencers start to get to not be like people. They start to be a bit plastic. So people get, no, they're not like me. I'm not going to use this product. So as long as influencers are like people, are relating to people, then I think they will thrive. But as long as you keep going far from people, that's your doom as an influencer, to be honest.
Yeah. Abul Futuh is saying, I am personally surprised they lasted this long, but they must be doing something right to have survived all these storms. Right.
Good point.
Right. Last one. Is there a low-cost way to do sort of some sort of influencer campaigns?
The initial way the influencer marketing started. Send them your product, they can try it for free, and they write the review or a shout out. That's the simplest, easiest, cheapest way. Right. Most of them, earlier it used to work that way, but now it's about, I'll take your product and I'll take your money, and some are like this. So look for friendly influencers, or if you have influencer friends, connections, do that.
Right. That's and the easiest. Don't have a question. Sorry?
That's the most efficient and cost efficient way approaching influencers.
Right. Amr Sharif is asking, can you please ask Amr what's his advice for generating buzz and boosting your presence for data science and AI trend analysis services in Egypt? If it's a field that's misunderstood or undervalued. I have a client who has launched with great start, but wants to boost their visibility and find lucrative partnerships, keeping in mind target audience is outside of Egypt. That was a tough one.
I need that written down because I cannot remember all of it.
I know. So he's asking how to generate buzz, right? And boost the presence of a startup that does data science and AI trend analysis.
Okay.
It's a startup that is misunderstood, undervalued, and that has target audience outside Egypt.
Okay. First, you have to change that misunderstanding and make people understand your product. That's what we call about product purpose and passion. You have to work on your product storytelling. You have to tell people exactly what your product does, clear all these misunderstandings and tell them what your product does. Then go for the purpose. What does your product uh, what's the benefits of your product? What does your product do? The pain it's clearing out, and then go for the passion. You're a human being. Don't act like a robot because the question seems like you're a robot. I'm sorry. It makes it seem like you're a robot. So be enthusiastic, be authentic, and just be a human. People understand you. And I guess your business is more like B2B and B2B directed. So it should go easier if people understand. If people understand it, business owners will.
Right. Right. So we had one pending question from Hassan. The books. Which books, let's say 3 books that you would recommend on startups?
Okay, I have a list here. Let me check it.
You were saying before, joining an incubator is sort of the best kind of
It
starting
raises
point.
our learning curve because we're 3 partners. 2 are corporate, and 1 is myself. I started as an entrepreneur, so every one of us had a lag in a part. So they filled that gap. Someone had a gap in something, they filled it. It's a great learning experience. Okay, one of the best books is The Lean Startup by Rice.
Yeah,
That's a great one.
that's like the
$100 startup would be great. And let's go for maybe The Hard Thing About Hard Things. That's another good one. That's the right one. Those 3 books.
perfect. Perfect.
The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And what else did I say? Which one? I guess $100 startup. Yeah, that would be a great one.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Amr. Thank you for your time and for your insights. This has been an incredible session.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in, everyone who is here on the webinar, everyone on Facebook who has been tuning in and sending your questions. Thank you for being with us. We are going to see you on Monday for the next quarantine session. Thanks again. Have a good quarantine.
You too. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.